Imagine you're talking to a woman and suddenly she touches your arm. It seems like something casual, right? But often, this gesture has a greater meaning. Women use touch to express connection, show interest, or even test the level of comfort in the conversation. But be careful. This doesn't mean that every touch has a second intention. The context is always important. If you've ever ignored this gesture thinking it was something unimportant, you may have missed an interesting signal. Let's understand better how to interpret this moment in a natural and respectful way. She feels a connection. Have you ever noticed how, when two people get along, they start acting in a similar way without even realizing it? Like one crosses their arms and a little later the other does the same. Or one tilts their head while listening and the other repeats the movement. This happens because our brain has a radar for social connections, and women are experts at this. When she touches your arm during a conversation, it's not just a random gesture. It's her body saying, without words, "I feel comfortable with you." This type of behavior is almost instinctive, something the brain does without having to think much. It's a subtle way of creating bonds and making the interaction more natural and engaging. Think of it this way. If someone doesn't like your presence or feels uncomfortable, the last thing they would do is close the distance, right? So, if she's touching you while you're talking, it means she's enjoying the exchange, feeling comfortable, and, more than that, valuing the moment. This type of contact also plays an important role in building trust. Small touches here and there help to strengthen the emotional bond, making a conversation more intimate and connected. So, the next time this happens, take note. If she's touching you naturally and frequently, it's because she's really enjoying your presence. This is a great sign that the connection between you is genuine. If she touches your arm while you're talking, it could be a sign that she feels comfortable with you. This type of behavior is instinctive and helps build trust. But again, it all happens naturally and respectfully, without pressure or pressure. She wants to reinforce a point. You know when someone is telling an emotional story and, in the middle of the conversation, lightly touches your arm or shoulder. This doesn't happen by accident. This gesture is like an invisible marker that she uses to ensure that you are paying attention at that particular moment. It's as if she's saying, "This is important. I want you to feel this part of the story." People naturally use touch to emphasize certain points without having to raise their voice or gestures too much. And women have mastered this art. If she touches you while talking about something that excites or moves you, it means that she is genuinely interested in the subject and wants you to be interested too. Think of it this way. If she were disinterested, she would speak in a monotone, without energy. But if she touches your arm in the middle of a conversation, it's because she wants to make an impact, make that moment more memorable, and, as a bonus, see how you react. This type of subtle contact also shows that she feels comfortable with you and trusts you enough to shorten the distance. So, pay attention. If she reinforces a point by touching you, it's a clear sign that she's enjoying a conversation and wants you to be part of that energy. If she does this, it means that she's engaged in the conversation and wants to make sure that you are too. But it's always important to notice the context and understand if this contact is happening lightly and reciprocally. She's flirting, even if she doesn't realize it. Has it ever happened to someone who touches you in such a natural way that it almost seems unintentional? Well, often touching can be an involuntary reflection of attraction, something that happens before the person even realizes it. When a woman feels a connection, her body can act before her mind processes this interest. This means that without realizing it, she may end up closing the distance between you, touching your arm, your shoulder, or even adjusting something on your clothes instinctively. It's as if her own body is giving you clues about what she's feeling. And the key to understanding this is in the frequency. If it happens once, it may even be a casual gesture. But if she does it several times throughout the conversation, with light and spontaneous touches, it's a strong sign that there's a spark in the air. The most interesting thing, often she doesn't even realize she's flirting. The body speaks before the mind becomes aware of what's going on. So, if you notice this pattern, know that there's a good chance that the attraction is growing, even if she hasn't put it into words yet. If she touches you subtly and frequently without realizing it, it could be a sign that there's a spark between you. However, it's essential to remember that all physical contact should happen in a comfortable environment for both of you, without assumptions or pressure. She wants to feel closer to you. Have you ever felt that good feeling when someone you like hugs you or holds your hand? It doesn't happen by chance. There's a scientific reason behind it. Touch releases oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone. When a woman touches your arm, even if it's a quick and subtle gesture, her body is literally activating chemicals that make her feel more connected to you. It's as if, with each touch, she's reinforcing an invisible bridge between you. And the most interesting thing, this type of physical contact not only strengthens the emotional connection, but also makes the interaction warmer and more memorable. Little touches here and there make the conversation feel more intimate, more engaging, as if there is a special energy in the air. Now, if she does this repeatedly, touches your arm, your shoulder, or even subtly moves closer during the conversation, this goes far beyond a friendly gesture. It can be a clear sign that, unconsciously, she is trying to create a stronger connection with you. Her body is saying what words have not yet said. I want to be closer. And this is one of the most natural and powerful forms of attraction. If she touches your arm naturally and repeatedly, this may indicate that she feels good by your side. But as always, it is important to respect each person's space and time. If the contact is well received and reciprocated, great. If not, the connection can be strengthened in other ways. She wants your attention. Guys, let's be honest, sometimes you just tune out in the middle of a conversation. Whether it's because your mind wandered, something caught your attention around you, or the conversation simply went on for too long. And guess what? Women can tell in a heartbeat. So if she touches your arm while you're talking, it could be a subtle and effective way of pulling you back into the moment. It's as if she's marking that part of the conversation with an invisible underline, ensuring that you're really listening to what she's saying. This gesture acts as a reinforcement. It not only gets your attention, but it also adds emphasis to what she's saying. Instead of just saying, "Hey, pay attention," she's using touch to create a more direct connection without having to interrupt the flow of the conversation. So the next time you notice her touching you while you're talking, pay attention. It could be a sign that that part of the conversation is important to her, and if it's important to her, maybe it's worth paying attention to. The most important thing is to understand the general context of the conversation and ensure that communication is light, natural, and respectful. She's giving you a signal to act. Sometimes, a touch on the arm isn't just a casual gesture. It can be a subtle invitation to get closer. She may be testing the waters, waiting to see if you notice and respond naturally. If this touch happens repeatedly and each time she leaves her hand there for a second longer, this is no coincidence. In fact, it's a subtle way of showing that she enjoys your presence and feels good around you. But here's an essential point. Respect always comes first. If she's comfortable, the touch will seem natural and spontaneous. However, if you notice that she doesn't maintain the same energy or pulls back, The best thing to do is give her space and go with the flow of the interaction without forcing anything. Now, if you are also interested and feel that the moment is right, you can reciprocate in a subtle way, whether with a more intense smile, a look that prolongs the connection, or even leaning your body a little more towards her during the conversation. The secret is to let everything happen lightly, without pressure, and always respecting her signals. After all, real chemistry happens when both of you are on the same wavelength. Conclusion. A woman's touch on your arm is almost never by chance. It can be a subtle test, a reflection of the connection she feels, a way of emphasizing a point or even an invitation for you to act. What matters is that her body is communicating with you, even if the words haven't said everything yet. If this happens, don't ignore it. Pay attention to the frequency, context, and way she does it. Small gestures can say more than entire sentences.